right, welcome. Hello, and thank you for being here. Welcome to Live Life Happy podcast, YouTube channel. And today I'm so excited to introduce you to someone who is truly changing the conversation around midlife, around menopause, and just what it means to be a woman halfway through her life, or if we think we're halfway through the life, when you just don't really feel like yourself. I am so excited. Tina Holler is a transformational coach. She's a hypnotherapist, a certified NLP specialist, and she's also the creator of Menobalance Method, which I'm so excited about all this training that she has and so excited just to learn more from her. I have read her book cover to cover, and her new book is called The One Thing That Changes Everything. And I'm so excited to have my hands on this copy right now. And her subtitle is A Midlife Reset for the Woman Who's Ready to Feel Like Herself Again. And so, welcome to the show, Tina. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, what inspired you to write this book now? Like, why do you feel that midlife is a time where women need this message so urgently?
Yeah, well, I've been talking to a lot of women lately, and the same message keeps coming up. It's like, what is left for me now? Like, what does my next life look like? Is this all there is for me? Like they just feel like kind of lost in what's next for them. And so I felt that, we really had to kind of dive into that. Like, what does that mean to create your next chapter? And what are we missing right now? Yeah, and that's when I realized the secret, the thing that's missing is that most women, have gotten away from alignment and what's really important to us, what our values are. We're not living our life to our truths anymore. We're living with masks and what we think other people expect of us. And so I wanted to bring people back to who they truly are.
And you've done such a beautiful job doing that as well. Your book is so lovingly written. I have to say, it's not, I love that it's not a prescription of like, here's how you manage symptoms of menopause. And here's how I love that you didn't make it prescriptive and you didn't make it like a guide necessarily, but you really did make it almost like a warm embrace, a hug, especially when women, I know myself included, we sometimes feel a little lost. And it's not necessarily that I feel like I've put a mask on in the early parts of my life. I feel like I've lived pretty authentically. But now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm at this stage where I'm sort of reinventing and like really realizing, oh my gosh, what is next for me? Or like, I'm no longer my 25-year-old self. Like, so how do we work with that? And I love that your book touches on that so wholeheartedly. And you really have this mission. Tell us a little bit about your mission for your book.
Yeah, like it wasn't meant to blame or shame anyone to the way that we're living our life. It was more for an awareness of how far we've maybe traveled away from who we truly are and what's important to us. So it's almost like a gentle guide back to who we are. Looking at what's important to us and making sure that we're living our life, because when we do live our life aligned to what's important to us, that's when we thrive. So it's like creating that foundation of let's dial in and make sure that we're living in alignment to our values, in alignment to what's authentic to us, and then build from there, because then it becomes so much easier to dial in certain things that we want to dial in. Maybe it's nutrition, maybe it's movement, maybe it's rest and rejuvenation, in order for us to thrive into our next chapter. And so it was a way to gently bring ourselves back to who we truly are in our truest essence.
And so why do you think, like from your perspective, is that why do you think that we stray from that? Or like, so your book makes a case that we stray from who we authentically are, maybe stray from our values. and I'm trying to think about like times where I have maybe stepped out of alignment with my values, and I'm thinking like usually what it is I'm being pulled in so many directions, or I haven't said no to certain things or practiced boundaries. And so I'm curious, like, why is it, in your opinion, like, why is it that we as women, we do move or we get off track a little bit without any shame, without any, like, why is it that that happens?
Yeah, I think just with society and also, maybe some patterns that we created along the way from our early childhood that have developed over time that have created like people-pleasing kind of behaviors or just not saying no when you truly need to say no. Worrying about or having that fear around judgment and what will people think if I don't say yes. And so we sometimes will do things out of obligation or what we think society expects of us, what our family expects of us, what our friends expect of us. And so we do stray from who we are and just to try to kind of fit into what we feel society is expecting of us.
Oh my gosh. And further to that, like, don't you find it's also what we expect of ourselves? Because I totally know for me, it's like, Andrea, like, why do your abs look like that now? Like, how come those abs don't look like your 25-year-old abs? Like, so it's kind of like I put a lot of pressure personally on myself. And it's like, and then I like, I'll be full disclosure, I've gone through menopause 4 years ago, and it really did shift a lot for me. And in terms of mindset and like and now I am so attuned to what it is that I really, really want for myself. And that's why I loved your book too, because it was reinforcing. It's like, yes, like no longer are the days here where we feel like we should, all the shoulds, we should be running to lose weight, or we should be doing, ab crunches every single day to get rid of we should blah, 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 fill in the blanks. And so that's what I love about your book is this warm invitation to reinvestigate with ourselves what is aligned for us. Like, what is it for us that will help us bring us back to ourselves and our values and what's important at this stage, not from our 25-year-old self, but from this stage. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is too, like, we see all these shiny objects, the next greatest fad, the next, best exercise regime. And, we think, okay, that's what I need to do. But when we really think about, like, we're all so different, and to sit there and try to mold into like a one size fits all kind of mentality isn't realistic. And so, by getting back to knowing who you are at your deepest root, knowing what your values are, you can build a exercise regime. You can build your nutrition around what makes sense for you. And that's where I feel that we can really dial it in and create sustainability with our choices because it feels right. It feels aligned. When we try to mold somebody else's idea of what we need to do, like go to the gym and do 50 sit-ups every day or do all these push-ups, if that doesn't feel right to us, it's not going to become sustainable. So we got to figure out what it is that feels right for us and
Mhm.
build our vitality that way. And that's what I
Yeah.
want women to think about. It's not like try to figure out the next greatest thing, but what makes sense for you.
I love that. And you raised such a great point because much of psychology and positive psychology, it talks a lot about personal sustainability and what that does that mean for you. And I love that your book draws that in. And so you talk a lot about your body as signals, or you talk about speaking in signals is how you put it in your book. So can you share what that means exactly, and then also how women can start listening instead of fighting our bodies?
Yes. Our body has an innate ability to heal itself, and it's always speaking to us. And I say its language is symptoms, signs and symptoms. And so it will notify us before we even realize there's a problem. And so listening to the whispers and the nudges and the little pokes that our body's saying something's not right. Because sometimes we ignore those little signs and until they become something to really pay attention to. And then sometimes it's it's a lot more difficult to come back from. But if we start to listen to those early signs that something's not quite right, like maybe you've got some indigestion, right? Instead of just giving yourself some sort of antacid to try to calm it down, try to figure out what the root cause is, right? Because something is going on that's causing that symptom to happen. Instead of ignoring it or trying to mask it, and then over time it gets worse and worse, and then it becomes something else, maybe a GI problem. So it's really listening to what your body's trying to tell you because it will tell you if you just stop to listen. It will tell you. It's like when we have when we say, oh, my intuition, like I feel like I need to do this, go this route, right? It's like your intuition is speaking to you. So that's another way our body speaks in symptoms, right? It's giving you that nudge that yes, this is the right thing for you to do in this moment. And so listening to that and trusting it, trusting your body.
Amazing. And we talk a lot about emotional intelligence and listening to our bodies, like just not just our physical bodies, but also what emotions are coming up, right? So like anger, frustration, or exhaustion. Do you find that a lot of women, specifically, I know for me, is like that we're ignoring those really important emotions as well?
Yes, because those are also indications. If you're feeling resentful, if you're feeling upset or angry about something, and it's you're angry a lot about things, then that is saying very clearly that you're out of alignment to your values, right? When you're living true to your values, what's important to you, you won't have that dissonance. I call it dissonance in the body, like this resistance in the body. It's like you want to live one way, but you're living a different way, and that dissonance, your body can feel it, and it will come out in different ways, like anger or resentment or judgment or things like that. So listening to your words can be a great indication to where you're at right now.
Yeah, and I also just, for the listeners, I want to make sure that everyone understands like that all emotions are important and they're there for a reason, and that it doesn't mean necessarily that you're in misalignment if you're having emotions that are the tougher emotions like anger or frustration or exhaustion. And in psychology, we always say that they're just beautiful messengers of information that so we don't have to judge or criticize ourselves around them. It's just like, okay, well, what is this emotion telling me? And I actually love the emotion of anger because that is one of those wonderful emotions that actually is so motivating. Anger is one of the best emotions for predictors for us to go and take action. And as we know, fear too does the same thing. It causes us to take action. It can also freeze us. So I love in your book how you talk about the signals within the body in terms of symptomatology, to letting us know that, what's going on here without self-diagnosing, of course, because that's not our credentialing. But
No.
I think that it's so important for us to just get quiet and listen to those messages. Like I remember like I was, and I won't, like I mean I'm not shaming the type of workout, but I was doing a type of workout that was initially I loved it, but then as I got a little bit older, when I was doing that exercise, I felt like I was beating my body up and I was exhausted. And then so finally I just sat down like halfway through the workout and I'm like, I'm exhausted. Like, why am I beating myself up with this workout? And so it was just me getting quiet in my mind, to your point, and aligning, well, what's important to me? me. Is like, and then I just had to have a reevaluation with myself about what's really important for me in terms of staying fit, moving my body. And we just published at Live Life Happy another book called Attuned Exercise, which is all about that, like exercising in alignment with what brings you joy, and not just exercising, going to the gym. It's like movement, right? And you speak to that as well, and just aligning with those values. So powerful. You have so many amazing inspirations through your book. So, okay, so midlife is often loaded with, it can be an emotional season. It can come with a lot of changes. I know both my kids have moved out within this year of the house. So I'm like, and then I have two bonus kids, so I'm not fully alone at home, but there's so many changes midlife, it seems like this, and maybe we're in the sandwich generation or what have you. Like, so what do you wish more women understood about this transition, physically and emotionally?
Yeah, because as you mentioned, like this is a time I feel that we can, we can spend more time on ourselves because our kids may be gone. We might have more time and we're more mature. And so looking to building the next half of our year, because we really, I mean, it's not unusual to live to 100 anymore. Many people are, and more are. So in the next half of a year, or sorry, half of your life, how does that going to look? And we have the opportunity to design it any way we want to. And so understanding how we operate, and just like you said with your exercise regime, it wasn't working for you anymore, but finding out what will work and how you can move your body in a way that makes sense for you, that still creates that vitality, still is fun and exciting, and something that's sustainable. So I just welcome women to take this opportunity to make their next half of life as vibrant and as fun and exciting as possible.
I love that. And for me, it has been a huge practice of self-compassion and just freeing myself from shame and judgment, and just like giving myself the understanding that, what, this is what it's like to be at this stage in our life, and that, and give myself compassion. Like sometimes it is really hard, and sometimes, it is going to be challenging, but at the same token, okay, well, what exciting things can I look forward to, or what's my new identity? How can I step into that and lean into that new identity that I want to be? Like, who do I want to be in this world as I move into this, next stage in my life? And so I'm just curious, like for a lot of the women reading this book or listening to you right now or about to read your book, um, you talk about losing yourselves. What's one thing that we can do to begin to reconnect to what's beneath all these roles and the stress and the noise?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really, taking pause and being gentle with ourselves and just saying, how could I do something different right now that's going to create a better outcome for me? And if we always look at that and take it in bite-sized pieces, like, okay, I want to maybe move the needle on this one thing. What is that one small thing I could do right now that's going to create the change that I desire? And if we constantly reevaluate, it's all about awareness, really. It's just paying attention, being aware, and moving forward in whatever way that makes sense. Sometimes we want to do it all, right away. We want to change everything. But what I've noticed with women and with people in general is when we try to do it all, it becomes so overwhelming that we do nothing, right? Or we give up. And so if we take it in smaller chunks and figure out what's that one thing that I can do that's going to be a powerful move forward to create the life I want, whether it's, moving your body in a certain way or nourishing your body in a certain way, or just being gentle with your words. So there's so many ways that we can, just I think just be gentler with ourselves and because we're powerful women, right? We're powerful beings. And so let that power shine is what I would say.
Ah, I love that. I love the work of in the research of BJ Fogg in Tiny Habits and having that is really the science behind change and real lasting change. And I love that you bring that in is that yeah, if we can just make these, even if they're small changes or adjustments, I like calling them adjustments, right? Or
Mhm.
even just regular rituals and habits that can help us move in a way that feels really aligned and in line with our values and what's authentic for us. I think that's really the bottom line message to your book. And I know it's going to help a lot of people and not just women like this in midlife. This could work for men too. Like this is,
Yeah.
we all have that. Like you blend the nervous system regulation, behavior change. You talk about holistic nutrition. You pull in a lot of elements into your book and in a really transformative way. So if a woman was reading your book and they're feeling right now, or they're hearing about your book right now, they're feeling exhausted, maybe overwhelmed, maybe not sure of their direction, or just like I feel really good, but I don't know yet what's in store for me. Again, what would one small shift be that they could start today to move forward?
Yeah, well, nervous system regulation is so important. And so even just doing a small ritual, if you feel like you're getting anxious or you're dysregulated in some way, just to pause. Take a deep breath in through your nose, maybe for 4 seconds, and then exhale completely. Maybe 6 seconds, exhale. And just doing that about 3 times can really calm down the nervous system and and regulate yourself again. So if you're feeling like sometimes I know for me, like sometimes my body would get so dysregulated and just getting just teaching it what safety feels like, that calmness, your body starts to recognize it and to bring it down into that calm parasympathetic um, state a lot quicker.
And so you bring up the nervous system and cognitive dissonance. I'm wondering if you could speak to that a little bit deeper for the listener that may not understand what stress and chronic activation, the stress response might have, and the impact that it has at midlife. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So this could take a while because
Did I open a can of worms?
there's so many things interplay, like with menopause and everything. But I think bottom line, the more stress that we have in our body, whether it's due to imbalances, due to hormones or, stressors in our life, or even toxic load, these stressors over time can create inflammation in the body. And so sometimes when women, I don't want to go too deep into this because it could be a big subject, but when women have inflammation in the body, that can affect their insulin and that can affect their weight. So it's like a domino effect, right? So it's very important on so many levels, just from a mental perspective, but also from a healthy body perspective, to maintain the stressors in our life and to regulate our body as best as we can.
Yeah, and not to mention the drop in estrogen and progesterone, which helps us feel relaxed and all those things. There's so many changes hormonally that go on. So I love that advice and that little introduction to the science of the stress response and I think the cognitive dissonance piece too is when we're not living in alignment with our values or when we're not feeling like ourselves, that in and of itself causes potentially stress or distress, I should say. And I just find that your what your book offers is this loving, compassionate approach to facing this part of our life. And I love that you bring in this element of looking after down regulating your nervous system and looking after psychological safety. And so you really do bring in a lot of those components that we may not forget about. We won't get that if we read a book on dealing with menopausal symptoms.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And
so I yeah.
sorry, I was just going to say, because I really feel like creating that foundation where we are creating that kind of stable environment, that's how we're going to thrive in different areas of our life. So figuring out ways that we can really calm down the body. So if there is dissonance because of misalignment from values or maybe thoughts that aren't serving us, that over time can create that inner kind of conflict in our body, which will create stress. So you're absolutely right.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So your book is available wherever you can buy books. The One Thing That Changes Everything, a midlife reset for the woman who's ready to feel like herself again by Tina Holler. Tina, oh my gosh, it's been such an honor and pleasure to have you here on the show. And I'm wondering if there is one last thing that you could share with the listener. What would it be?
Yeah, take this time to create the best life that you possibly can for yourself because we do have that control. We are in complete control of our life. And when we take back our control and then start creating, the sky's the limit. So don't settle because a lot of us do settle. Think outside the box and just go for it and live big.
Oh, I love that. And I have to piggyback on that. And then I'm gonna let you have the final word. But I love that. That was like a mic drop. I love this idea because I keep looking for other people as evidence of what's possible because I don't want to believe, all the things or the messages that have been programmed into my mind about what it means to be midlife or what it means to go through menopause. Like I don't, and some of it, yes, valid and probably yeah, I have happened to me. But what I love is that you're an example of going through menopause, going through midlife, and reinventing your own life and your own career. And you're writing your book and helping women go through the midlife in the most successful, transformative way possible. So I have to thank you for being such a remarkable example of what's possible and being one of those women up there on my list of I always look for proof of what's possible for being inspired. And so I just want to celebrate you and being one of those women and an example for so many other women that can look to you for inspiration and be supported by you as well with your book.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words.
So there you have it. At Live Life Happy Publishing, we celebrate books that transform hearts, touch hearts, transform lives. And I'm so grateful for you being here, Tina, and sharing your message with the world. And thank you for the listener for listening. And Tina, I'll turn it over to you. Just one last thing.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be on here. It's been a pleasure having this conversation because it's really I think it's time. It's time for us to take back our control, our power, and to really show up in the best possible way that we can. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on today and share.